Welcome to the YouTube video. This is the match review of Leeds 1, Everton 2. If you want Leeds United videos dropped into your notifications, why not smash that subscribe button? That's what they say, isn't it? And leave us a comment. Tell us how you thought the game went. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Here we go. The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions.
Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast.
Welcome back to the Roaring Peacock Podcast. This is the match review of Leeds United 1, Everton 2. My name's Adonis. You know me as @TheAdelites on Twitter, and it's a very good hello from me. And joining us today is our mate Sam Ward at Sam Ward LUFC.
Hello there. Good evening, everyone.
Hello. So a little bit of a disappointing result, to be fair, but I think the performance was really good.
Yeah, it was. It's a bit not the same scale as the Liverpool defeat, but it's one of them where I'm actually not too upset about it. Everton are a good side, and they did turn up today, and we just threw every single thing at that goal in the second half.
So start off with the positives then, because the negatives are quite obvious, and I'm sure we'll get onto them in a sec. But I thought the major positive was the second half.
Yeah.
I thought we came out a different team. We were looking very similar to ourselves. It was lethargic all night, but in the second half, we really piled on the pressure. We completely dominated Everton.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was only until a couple of mistakes led to a couple of counterattacks when we were really pushing everyone forward at the end that they had any sort of a sniff at our goal in the second half.
Yeah. Daft little defensive errors, little slips of concentration cost us in the first half, but second half, it's something to be positive about, and it is. Yeah, it was a really good second half performance, and yeah, one that you've got to take a lot of positives from. But yeah, frustrated we didn't get a point out of it after giving everything.
So just going on the positives then. I thought Alioski played well, and I've been one of his harshest critics. I thought he played really, really well. He probably had his best game of the season. In a lot of moments, he did make a couple of mistakes, but everyone's capable of that.
Yeah, that's it.
Who else? Raphinha.
Oh yeah,
he almost dragged us back into it.
God, I love him.
You know?
I heard your last podcast, and you just love him, don't you? You just love him. He always just wants to take hold of that game and get it by the scruff of the neck and do something with it. And his legs are flailing everywhere. He's got tricks up his sleeve. You just love to watch him. But even he couldn't drag us through that second half, unfortunately. But I just love watching him. Even in a defeat, I just love watching him.
It's amazing to think like where we would have been without him.
No, I know.
And that we just got him. It was just random. It was just lucky. That we had the opportunity to get him.
Yeah, a good bit of business by Orta. Is that really good? Such a bargain.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, necessary.
Yeah, it was.
Dallas, I thought, was okay.
I'm starting to grow.
It wasn't bad.
I'm starting to grow to the idea of Dallas now in centre mid. He just gives that energy, and he's got his defensive side of the game as well as he was a winger for a lot of time, and he scored some good goals for us over the years we've had him. So he's got both sides to his game, and I think he's improving their game by game. He was my man of the match last game, actually, against Leicester. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. But he's always going to play well. He's always going to give 100%, isn't he? And I feel like in the second half, a lot of the players just gave absolutely everything. There was a lot of good performances. Even Melia to keep his concentration for that save. Was it Calvert-Lewin, I think? I was a goalkeeper myself, and when your team are absolutely dominating at the other end of the field, it is really hard to keep your concentration and just keep the sharpness about you. So, and he always manages to do that, because there's a lot of times we are on the front foot and are dominating, and he does, he still comes up with them saves, so credit to him. But yeah, like you say, just wasn't enough in the end, really, was it, to get a second goal? But
you seem very down. We're talking about the positives now, Sam. We'll get on to the negatives in a second. Now we're talking about the positives.
Yeah.
It's a shit sandwich. You start positive, go on to negative, then go back to positive. So I feel like the main positive from tonight was the set pieces. I thought we've really found our niche there. We don't try and play it short. We don't do anything fancy. You just get it into the mixer every time, and we do look a threat now. And also from free kicks, there was just that one little kind of creative corner where we knocked it to Alioski, and he's almost bagged a whirly there, hasn't he? Fucking hit the post.
My word, what a clean strike that was. But Raphinha on corners, like you say, he makes a hell of a difference. The way he drills that ball in really is dangerous. And I think Phillips had some good deliveries in there today, but they've just got some big players, haven't they? But yeah, that's another positive. You are right there. That the deliveries for corners, especially, we are starting to look threatening. And like you say, getting in the mixer, we're just sort of starting to adapt our play a little bit now. Just getting a bit clever to the Premier League, which I think is very necessary. So, and look, Everton are a good team, and we went toe to toe and dominated them in the second half. We could be proud of ourselves today. I'm very proud of them. Even in a loss, we gave it absolutely everything.
There was a sequence there where I couldn't believe we hadn't scored. I don't know how many shots there were within a couple of minutes. But were they saved by Olsen every time?
Yeah, I think
there even one cleared off the line? I don't even. There was just so many shots. I don't even know who was having them anymore. We're just spraying him. And the thing is, that's all about Pickford, isn't it?
Yeah. He wouldn't have saved half of them, I don't think.
If I was going into this game, I was not very optimistic, I have to say. The one thing that gave me optimism was the Leicester performance. Because it was fantastic and everybody can see that. But a pitch from London, so bringing the London curse up to our home ground, didn't seem like a good idea. And then I was thinking about Olsen, and of course, none of us have ever heard of the substitute goalkeeper for Everton. But I did have the feeling that, Popey said in the preview that he kind of expected Pickford to have been dropped. And it's a bit like Kiko Casilla. Kiko goes, and we've got this young French lad, and we were all a bit apprehensive about him, but he turns out to be so much better than Kiko, and it looks like they've done the same.
Yeah, it was just typical, wasn't it? As soon as I saw Pickford was out injured, I was like, oh God. In a way, most people are like, get in, they've got this sub-keeper that no one's heard of starting for them, but for me, I was like, oh, God's sake, it's just typical, isn't it? I don't think Pickford's saving half of them shots, especially from point-blank range with his little T-Rex arms. I don't think he's doing much of them, is he?
They bullied us, didn't they?
Yeah.
They have a few. They've got a few quite big units, and they've also got a few, players who are a bit niggly and a bit, a bit dirty. Holgate,
straight away,
and Mina. Yeah, Holgate, Mina. I thought Iwobi as well. He's a big lad.
Yeah,
he's a big boy. And he was putting himself about. Doucouré as well. There was one time where I think he tried to gouge someone's eyes out. Was it KP? I'm not sure.
Dallas, I think it was, yeah.
Dallas, yeah. So there were a few tackles where I thought, that's not really on, especially like, the elbow into KP's face and just a few little incidents like that. I'm not saying that there should have been a red card, not even necessarily a yellow, but we saw 2 red cards in the Premier League the night before.
Yeah.
There was a lot less than that,
it was.
And I thought Holgate was very lucky in particular to not have picked up 2 yellows.
Yeah. That challenge right at the end, I think it was very cynical, that. And I think they just picked up from there with that elbow on Phillips. I think it was Sigurdsson. He goes and takes a look behind him, sees he's there, just sort of, gauges where his head is, and then puts it on him. And I think, I think the very legal paid-for stream that I had on, was it Astro Super Sport 2? I think I had Rob Green on co-commentary there, and he was saying there was nothing in that. But the way he looks back, sees where he is, gauges, like I say, with his elbow where his head is, and then just gives him a sneaky one there. They were doing that all game, and we find it quite hard against teams that are very big and physical and good at that sort of little shithouse stuff. So
it wasn't an obvious one, and I don't think it was. I don't think he's not going to break his nose or anything.
No.
I think it would have been harsh to have got sent off for example. But even a yellow card
something.
would have been good. And I think what you see, the wily teams who've been in the Premier League for a long time now, and the teams who used to win the Premier League a lot, especially when I was growing up. So Scum, Arsenal,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on Chelsea. And you can see Tottenham started doing this now under Mourinho, but they will aggressively react in that situation to defend their player and also to kind of reinforce the idea that something's gone on here, something bad's happened. So in that situation, I would like to see a few of our players going round Sigurdsson and telling him to get the fuck off KP.
Yeah.
And even if that's not in the kind of dark arts sense, trying to influence the referee, but just to stick up for our mate.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? And our players, and just show that's something that the Revy side used to talk about a lot. Is if one of our players got kicked a lump out of, then we'd go and get revenge.
Yeah, they'd all sort of feel
on that
it in
player.
a way, wouldn't they?
Yeah, because that's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's part of the battle.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, you can't get bullied like that. So let's talk a little bit about the negatives then. We switched off, and if you go to sleep like that, it doesn't matter what level of football you're playing. If you're under nines or if you're at the World Cup, you're going to concede goals, because if you stop playing, if you stop moving, and you just watch the ball and watch the other team score,
you're going to concede, aren't you?
It doesn't matter, does it?
No.
It's naive, wasn't it?
It was.
I mean, what happened?
I don't know.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. For their first goal, I feel like they've done that a few times. Teams at that end at the Kop end as well. Teams that come there, and they've just put a crossing from the left. I feel like it was a Leicester game. I feel like a few games at home this season, that sort of thing's happened where, I don't know, people are maybe running into each other, not looking where they are. I think Phillips and Cooper actually collided for that first goal. Like I said, it was quite a grainy, totally legal stream I was watching, so it was, I couldn't really make out, but I think they did collide. And it's just having that awareness in the box of who's running on, whose man that is, and like you said, not to collide with people. But we've seen that a few times now this season, where everyone just sort of stopped. Someone just pelted in last minute and tapped it in, and it's frustrating and it's annoying, and it's something that can be easily rectified and should be rectified, because if whoever's man that was tracks him, gets in front of him, that's not a goal, and it's not a piss easy goal for them. Same with the second, I think it might have been Elland lost his man. If you keep hold of that man, as good as Calvert-Lewin is, but if you stick to him like glue, he's not peeling off and making that little header, and it's just annoying little things like that. But things that we're going to iron out, I feel, across this season, and as we buy better players, I feel like we're going to cut that sort of stuff out. But it is frustrating, isn't it, watching them little goals go in and so easily rectified, aren't they?
It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating because we were great for 5 minutes at the start of this game, and then we went to sleep. And I don't know why we did that, but we let Everton into the game. And that second half showed you how we can play, how well we can play, how well we can dominate the play, how well we can dominate the space. We didn't give them anything, not a sniff.
No.
It was only after we brought on Costa and Pablo that we'd kind of unbalanced ourselves in a way, because we were just trying to throw everything at it to try and get an equaliser. But for the majority of that second half, we can play like that against all teams. And we'd shown against Leicester how good we can be against the big teams. And Everton are a team full of multi-million-pound players, and we're just not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was Ayling arguably for the first goal as well. But I mean, you can't just put it all on him. He was out of position.
Ball just seemed to travel through loads of like 2 or 3 players, isn't it? And then I think it was that far post where Ayling was. But
Strauch had stopped, and then as you said, Cooper and KP got in each other's way, but they also just stopped and kind of watched it all happen.
Yeah.
And that was the frustrating thing for me, is like, just awareness and stopping and kind of panicking a bit and wondering what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no time for that in the Premier League.
I was just about to say, you switch off like that in the Prem, you're going to get punished every single time, and it's just cutting out of our game. And these players are still learning, the Premier League and learning that they can't make their mistakes. In the Championship, they might not have gone in, but I think with how we're going to invest in our team in the next few seasons, I don't think we lose that game in 2 or 3 seasons' time. I think we win that and win that comfortably in the second half. I think we get a few goals in there. I think, like I say, as we progress our squad, I think we win that game today. So yeah, it's going to get all them daft little errors are going to get cut out as and when these players eventually sort of get faded out. It's shit because they got us promoted, but you can't hold on to these players. They're playing a lot of them at the highest that they can.
If Tyler Roberts gets that last opportunity on target, I think we'd all have a different opinion of his performance, because I think he actually played well.
Yeah,
that's the thing. He did play well when he came on again. But the thing is, that was our last opportunity, and that's probably what's in most people's minds.
Yeah,
is him ballooning it almost out of the fucking South Stand.
When Bamford crossed that in, I was like, where on earth has he put that? And then he just needed to get over it. But like you said, I think Roberts has actually performed really well when he's come on the past maybe 4 or 5 games. I don't know if he's trying to prove a point, because there was a lot of talk of him leaving in January, and I think there was actual interest by what we what we hear. So maybe he's starting to think, oh shit, I need to start playing now. And when he does come on, and he's going to have to affect games, otherwise, who knows what will happen in the summer. I don't know how long he's got left on his contract, but maybe it's just giving him a bit of a kick up the arse, having that much interest in him from the Championship, and he wants to prove himself in the Premier League. And the first half of the season he was coming on and not affecting games in the slightest. I feel past 4 or 5 he really has, and it's nice to have that option, because he's fast, he's intelligent, and he's got a good shot on him apart from that last one that we saw. But I think he can affect games now.
Clicky's another one who didn't have a good game. Against Leicester, he had this return to form, and he thought, right, now he's back. And then it just goes back to a fairly average performance again.
Yeah.
And it's a bit weird, because it's not just him and the players, but it's all of the teams in the Premier League as well. It's just been a very, very inconsistent season in it, and it seems weird. So let's move on now. Let's talk about that fucking London Ice Rink. So, I mean, I've never been so excited about grass before, to be honest with you. And we were talking about it as being, obviously we didn't sign any players, but we were talking about it being the signing of the transfer window, and a remarkable feat to lay this pitch in record time, and then there was this kind of the slow motion of the soil dripping off the rake. I thought the video that the Leeds United released before the game, and it's a fucking ice rink, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a fucking London ice rink, which fills me with dread.
Have we got the receipt? I don't know. The last time I was excited about grass this much was when it was in a weed drought when I was about 15 back in the day. But like you said, it was absolutely, it was like getting a new pitch, and then no one could stay on their feet, and that's actually how we sort of gave away the ball for their first goal, was by slipping over. No one looked confident on it, and I can't. Do new pitches do that? Was it wet? I mean, it was raining, wasn't it? Is that a new? The pitches do that? I just don't know. But hopefully, we keep the receipt. And
do they need to cover it when it's raining? Do they need to not water it so much? It was Russian roulette tonight, and whoever slipped at the wrong moment was going to give away goals. And in a game that was very tight and defined by a goalkeeper, Olsen, who has kept them in it. Then it was really, I think it was really unlucky. It was we partly made our own luck by switching off in inopportune moments and giving them goals, and we partly got unlucky from the slipping and the sliding of the pitch. However, let's try and finish this on a positive then.
Mm-hmm.
So can I ask you for your man of the match firstly?
Does it have to be a Leeds player, or can I pick anyone?
Well, we're a Leeds United podcast, so probably best pick a Leeds player.
Okay, I was going to say Olsen because them saves, like I say, I was a keeper and I see them saves and think it was unreal. But fuck them, they're Everton scum. So let's go for. I'm going to say super duper Raphinha just because he just took the game by the scruff of the neck. Got a goal at a very good time. I mean, just after half time? What perfect time to score a goal. And yeah, he just looked tricky all game again. And I was so happy when I seen he was on the team sheet and not injured, because I feel like if we didn't have him today, like we said earlier on in the podcast, I don't think we have half of the chances and half of the trouble, for Everton. So yeah, for me, Raphinha, because he just stood out to me. And what about you?
Yeah, it will probably be Olsen as well, but no, it can't be anybody other than Raphinha, I think. Where we'd be without him and Meslier, I have no idea. We might even be in trouble, but thank God we've got them two, and thank God, touch wood, that they have. I'm not religious, so I don't know why I say thank God. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I know. I said
one of those weird things, isn't it, that you just do unconsciously. But yeah, it has to be Raphinha. So a couple of interesting stats. Leeds have conceded 17 goals via set pieces in the Premier League, including penalties. And that's the most in the Premier League. And I think we have got a lot better at set pieces. I know that we conceded from one again today. But in general, I thought we defended them okay, fairly well. To be honest, did they only have one corner?
Yeah,
and they scored from
maybe
it.
two,
So maybe we didn't.
Yeah, maybe that's just throwing that argument.
Yeah, they had one. Okay, so yep, forget what I'm saying. No, but we have looked better. I remember there was a time, I think Crystal Palace maybe, and then after that, I think we got a lot. I think we started to get better. Anyway, in general, we've been a lot better, and I think you do have to get a bit of luck. And let's face it, Everton got a bit of luck today from scoring at their first corner. Ayling lost his man. That's true. He should wear that. But on the other hand, there has to be so many factors involved for you to score at a corner. It has to land in the right way. There has to be a player is almost exactly the right time. Otherwise, it in the spot. Otherwise, it bounces off your head in all sorts of directions. That just reminded me of that Bamford header. Actually, I thought Paddy played okay, and he couldn't have done anything more.
He's bullied today,
with
wasn't
that
he?
header. I think he did really well. He was unlucky again.
Yeah, he was. I think it was Mina seemed to be pulling him about quite a bit, but yeah, it's a tough day in the office for games like that for Paddy. When you've got some aggressive defenders like they do, absolute meatheads as well. I just remember was it from a corner where Strauch forced a really good save from their keeper.
Free kick, yeah. And he flicked it on, and he actually did really well flicking it on. It actually came off Calvert-Lewin after he'd flicked it on, and then it was a great save by Olsen. Yeah, so I mean, it had been deflected as well, but if it hadn't have been deflected, I think it would have been much more difficult for Olsen.
Yeah, it would have been.
When you look at their defenders and the big lads at the back that they pack the box with for set pieces, you've got Godfrey, who I think they bought for 15 or 20 or 30 million or whatever it was from Norwich, who was probably Norwich's outstanding defender. And then you've got Mina, who, of course, everybody remembers from the World Cup when he scored against England for Colombia. Holgate's a tall lad, and Doucouré's not short either. to be honest, neither Sigurdsson's not that short, and he
Yeah,
puts himself
Gomez as
about.
well.
You can ask Calvin Phillips' face about that.
Yeah.
Gomez is the same. He's not shy. Calvert-Lewin, obviously, is a good header of the ball as well. So, and then there was Olsen. So it's not like they are they're a team of short asses, and we didn't defend properly. That we've really made it. It was really difficult, and it was really difficult in the box. And I think if you look at Strauch, he is turning out to be really good in the air.
Brilliant.
And if you look at somebody like Llorente, he scored loads of goals in the air in Spain. He was actually known for that. So we've been again unlucky in to lose out on him, especially before this game. So Everton's 5 league wins at Elland Road have come in 1926, 39, 51, 2002, and 2021. So they've just won one of their last 37 top flight games at Elland Road. So that kind of shows you how what a fortress it has been for us against them over the years, and probably why we're all feeling a little bit down, especially the older fans who have always generally had good times playing against Everton at Elland Road.
I feel like if fans are in there today, I think they would have been exactly what we needed in that second half, just to literally suck the ball into the goal.
Yes.
It's such a shame, like you say, for teams that you've got good records for. I know it sounds daft, but sometimes it does make a difference. And I don't know if it plays on players' minds, but as a fan, you think, oh, well, they've got a bad record here. And, for us in London, for example, surely that's playing on the players' minds now.
Could not agree with you more, Sam. We need to get fans in there because they do make a difference. They really do. So at least we're the far better team today, in my opinion. A couple of mad moments and Everton have scored. Everton, a team of quality, a fantastic coach, and a team who are very well established in the Premier League. They've always been 7th or 8th. So kind of winning the mini league table below the top 6. And today we had, we've dominated possession again. We've had 16 shots, 7 on target. And that was just the difference, I think, that we were just either more clinical or, they were saved by who probably was the man of the match and probably the neutrals man of the match, Olsen. I thought the referee was a bit cunty.
Yeah.
He
got
just
a cunty look about
it was another one of those where there weren't huge mistakes by him. It was just a lot of these tiny little 50-50s where it could go one way or the other. Richarlison diving all the time, for example, and all of that. And then him getting, and that just breaks up the play and it stops our momentum and flow, and we kind of. It's another psychological effect, like, oh, we've got to beat these and the ref,
Yeah, I thought, I wrote it down in my notes, when he yellow carded Harrison, I think it was maybe in the 15th minute, I thought that was dead harsh. He sort of went in for a hard tackle, pulled out, and then nothing really happened, but he gave me yellow, and that's like straight away, and that's because when Harrison tracks back, he's quite important to how we defend. And straight away from minute 15, that's, they're going to have a bit more luck down there because he might be a bit reluctant to go in. But I thought that was a really bad decision, and not even giving him a freebie as it goes. You know what I mean? But to give him for something that it showed a replay, it didn't really give much, I didn't think.
Yeah, and same with Ayling as well. It was not intentional by Ayling to accidentally stand on Dinia's foot.
No.
Dinia makes a meal of it. The Everton players complain, and then Ayling gets a yellow card. And I think that was maybe a little bit of the difference. But they were doing worse fouls and not getting yellows.
Yeah.
And when you think you can get away with it, then you can do it again and again and again, and that breaks up our play. And
like I say,
what can we say?
They were doing it multiple times, and some of the very cynical ones, people just hacking him down to not get a crossing or hacking him down to not progress the ball. And you think with ones like that, surely that's a dead set yellow. But he just let them get away with it. Holgate, I remember doing it a few times. I think, is he not going to do anything more there?
I thought that too. I thought he'd had his 3 chances at least.
Yeah.
It was only later when it was really obvious against Raphinha that they gave the yellow card, but that should have been him off.
Yeah.
He should have already had a yellow. But we can't make excuses like that. It's definitely not an excuse. It's just an observation. But I think this was a tale of Leeds playing very well and throwing everything at it in that second half. And that was encouraging to see that performance. Like, I think we were a bit shell-shocked maybe with those 2 goals and going in at half-time, 2-0 down, and not playing spectacularly and definitely not playing anywhere near the way we played against Leicester, and then coming out with that second half and just throwing everything at it. Yeah. And they were very good on the break, and we had to put as much effort into going forward as coming back and defending. And I thought we did that very well. We didn't give them any chances at all really in that second half. And I think for that alone, the players deserve a huge amount of credit, and they can take so many positives from this game.
Couldn't agree more, mate.
All right, Sam. So final thoughts then?
It was a very entertaining game, let's be honest. It was really good. And like you just said, they could be really proud of themselves. And like you said as well, Everton are a very well-established Premier League team, invest heavily in their squad. They've got a really, really, really world-class manager. And we restricted them in the second half to absolutely nothing. And we should have scored. As frustrating as it is, games like that, you've just got to take positives from it. And I feel, like I said earlier on, in a year or two, once we've invested in our squad a bit more, I think we win that game. And I think we win that by a couple of goals, because our domination in that second half just needed that bit of quality that Everton had. But yeah, look, I'm happy with that. It is a good performance, and I'm sure Bielsa will be taking the positives out of that.
Final thoughts from me, we're 11th. I don't know what we expected when we came into the Premier League, but as much as we joked about Champions League football and all of that, I don't think we've got the quality, and we certainly haven't had the consistency of performances to go for Europe at the first attempt. But I think a lot of people just wanted to finish 17th.
That's all we need to do.
And we are absolutely nowhere near that. And I know it sounds a bit like a broken record, but we're 11th. It's fine. I think we're doing well. And as long as we put in good performances, as long as the players wear their hearts on the sleeves and sweat for Leeds and bleed for Leeds and put their bodies on the line, like they did in that second half today, I don't think we can have any complaints. That we don't need anything more from them. We don't expect them to win every game, do we? So it's just about we're putting on that shirt and wearing it with pride and going out and giving their all. And I thought that second half they really did that. Yeah. So it's a positive for me.
Yeah,
it was okay.
No, that's what we like.
Hey,
we're all about the positives. I feel better for that now as well.
So if you're watching on YouTube, let us know your thoughts on the game in the comments. And if you're listening on the podcast, just send it to us via telekinesis. So thanks for listening. If you would like to help us out and click on the subscribe button, it doesn't cost you anything to do that. Yeah.
Click it, you bastards.
Does it? Does it? Click it. Go on.
Go on. Dare you. Double dare you.
Come on, you
click your count.
Right, yeah. So it's thank you very much for listening, and it's a very goodbye from me. My name is Adonis, and you can catch me at the Adelites on Twitter, and you can catch Sam Ward at Sam Ward LUFC on Twitter. It's a very goodbye from him.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep the faith. Give us a follow. Go on, don't be boring.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the main cast very shortly. To round up the week, and then we'll see you for who we're playing next.
Crystal Palace, not in London.
There you go, Crystal Palace, not in London.
Yes,
at Elland Road.
At Elland Road.
On the ice.
On the ice.
It's like Disney on Ice or whatever, isn't it?
Ancelotti's the.
All right, catch you next time.
Bye. Keep the faith.
Oh, no. Come on, Leeds. Most of our stats come from LUFC Stats or LUFC Data on Twitter. A very special thanks to Barney Stewart, Cook, Ewan and Howard Metcalf, Josh Pearson, Laura, Leon and Rob, The Light Show, and all our family and friends.